Dave, did you like the cold open last week where it just seemed like we were mid-conversation and all of a sudden everyone joined us?
Oh, hey, everybody.
Oh, well, thanks for joining.
Didn't see you there. Thanks for hanging out with us here on United Sessions episode. I don't know, what are we on, like 14, 15, something like that?
Somewhere in that range, Dave. With longevity that we did not expect, so we stopped charting after 10. We never expected to get that far.
You know you're getting a little bit big for your britches when you think you can do cold opens and that they'll work.
Well, welcome to United Sessions. I'm Lucas Cash. He's my main guy, David Carl. Makes my life all the more joyful, whether on a professional setting or a personal setting. How are you, my friend? What a weekend.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I'm doing great. I had a wonderful Friday. I don't know about you. I made a trip to Colorado Springs, took in a new stadium, saw 11 of my best friends, well, actually 18 of my best friends, go on out there and win 3-1. Heck of a weekend. Had a great time. How about you?
Hot take here, Dave. It may not be that hot take. It may be more like lukewarm. But Friday games are kind of where it's at, right?
Like,
we love our Saturday nights at the lab, but then you have cram everything into your Sunday. There's no relaxation, but a Friday night, chef's kiss on amount of recovery time.
So especially on the road, right? So if it's typically a Saturday, you go to the game on Saturday, you drive back Sunday, you got work the next day. We went to the game on Friday, drove back Saturday. I had all Sunday to relax, recover. It was nice.
Dylan tried something experimental down there in the scrolling bar. I don't know exactly what for, but we want him to be creative. So keep up the good work, producer Dylan. Don't know exactly what that means, but you can explain it off air. Dave, really important question that I have for you tonight, and this is not a promoted thing, right? This is not our Cinnamon Cafe wrap it up section or anything like that. We just had a homie. We just had a homie drop by, right? Yeah, and say like, love what it is you guys are doing. Would love to maybe supply for you a little bit. So what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking from Thirsty Eye Brewing, a nice little brown ale, which I don't know if you know this, is a brown ale. It's nice.
Is that the one that has the anise in it? Because that one was wildly intriguing to me.
What's that?
Is that the one that had the anise in it? Like the same spice we would use in a biscochito?
Oh, I think I cut out. Where am I? Here I am. Can you hear
Dave,
me?
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Wow. With the technological difficulties, everything throws at us. So you are having a brown ale. And is that the question that is now burning on everyone's mind is, for God's sakes, does that have the anise spice in it that you would use in the biscochito cookies?
I think it does. Anise little brown ale, a nice little brown ale. Yeah, you can taste kind of that. It's like a little bit of biscochito brown ale. So big fan of this. Shout out to Wes Torres over at Thirsty Eye Brewing for hooking it up. It's delicious.
Wes Torres, tell your crew, whoever's coming up with the names of these beers, keep up the good work, because I'm drinking what's called the Odin's Eye, which is a rye ale with a little bit of juniper in it. I don't care what it tastes like. It's something that's called Odin's Eye. And so that's exactly the type of energy I want to be taking into this evening.
Yeah. Great Odin's Raven, as Ron Burgundy would say. I want to ask Austin Yearwood, who is our guest, and we're going to get to him in the second segment, what he thinks about Friday matches, by the way, as well as what he thinks about cleverly named local beer. So those are really the two main questions I have for him. I don't really have anything else.
I think this is a great engagement question for everyone. We saw Tito pop in there. We always love to see engagement from our fans. How do you all feel about the Friday night matchup? Because I've made my feelings pretty strong. Had a great Saturday and a great Sunday. But you know what? I have to be fair when it comes to the United front office. Peter Trevisani, Des Kim, all of the front office super mindful of this stuff. And so they like to fold in those extra days as well. So Brendan Ortega, great take. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What's wrong with Tuesday and Thursday, Brendan?
We don't have those. We don't have any Tuesday or Thursday matches this year, do we?
We don't, but I just wanted to clarify that that's why he phrased it in that way and not because he has something categorically against Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah. Katie Emerson also says I need to get it together, which is always true. I just don't know specifically in regard to this situation why I need to get it together any more than normal. So if
we have a lot of situations where you need to get it together, Dave. You need to finish your ice cream sundae. You need to stop choking. That one episode where we almost got a Hall sponsorship. We have our moments, but I
haven't had one of those yet today.
Go ahead.
I said I haven't had one yet today, except maybe just interrupting right now. So maybe that's it.
Well, your connectivity issues, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah. Anyway, that's far too little of an illustrious introduction to our guest tonight. Me and you, fans from the beginning. Oh, yeah. And that's why when we get to have special conversations with players who have been here from the beginning, it's always a special night. And tonight we have Austin Yearwood, literally one of the OGs and one of the coolest people on the face of the earth.
Yeah, so excited to chat with Austin. He is one of those guys who, you know, from day one was always incredibly personable, incredibly down to earth, an incredibly kind of real person. Felt like, you know, you kind of think, you know, your favorite athletes, they could big time you, right? They'd have every right to big time you. And Yearsy's never done that. He's always been a real human being, not to mention a kick-ass footballer. So really excited to chat with him on the other side of the break.
Yeah, he's What? And I'm so sorry, Dylan. That is my fault, producer Dylan. Dave just literally laid off the perfect alley-oop to the commercial break, and I was like, no, I need to say something. So now let's awkwardly go to the commercial break with my apologies.
Get it?
In New Mexico, we know true love, true beauty, true adventure, true color, and true culture, because we are truly hot, truly unique, truly rich, and truly home to the greatest stories and heroes, caverns and mountains, music and dancing, sunrises and sunsets, home to the artists, the warriors, and the multi-generational, multiracial, all-inclusive family that we call the United. It's true, the black and yellow, this shield, these people, these scenes. This is New Mexico United, and New Mexico United is New Mexico True.
Welcome back to
Austin
United Visions. Austin Yearwood, you are here with us. We are hoping that the high production quality of that commercial video has made you have a short memory about the ghastly first segment that we had. And when we said you're coming on a professional podcast, we hope you believe that is actually the case after that video. How are you, my friend? Number 3 for New Mexico United.
Oh, I believe it. I appreciate you guys having me on. Always great to see your faces.
If we at any point told Austin that he was coming on a professional podcast, we were lying. Absolutely untrue. We are here. Yeah, we're here. It is a podcast. Professional, I guess, is a relative term.
Yeah, absolutely. Years, we have so limited a time and so many things I want to talk with you about. But I think the first most pressing thing was a question that we got from a fan on Twitter, and I want to make sure I get that out so that I don't forget to do it later. The question was simply this: what is actually in your water bottle this year? Because it can't be actual H2O. There's something else in there that's taking you to this ridiculous superhuman level. So clear the air. What are you drinking out of that bottle, my friend?
Oh, you're going to have to ask the trainer, Tyler, about that. It's the secret juice.
So the advertisement, Yearsy, that we just watched for New Mexico True, the partnership that we did with New Mexico True, Robert mentions here in the chat, you featured prominently in that. You know, we launched that partnership. It's really focused on a lot of these beautiful things that make New Mexico what it is, the people that make New Mexico what it is. That looked like it was a lot of fun to create. I mean, you guys are going to different parts of the state, you know, obviously shooting in the kits themselves. How much fun did you guys have putting that video together?
Okay, guys, make sure you can hear me. Give me a.
We can hear you.
Up.
We can hear you, but your internet is just a little wonky.
Yeah, I mean that particular promotion Okay, well, I'll keep rolling with it. That particular promotion was undershoot. I mean, we're out media team, just Mexico, and all this beautiful scenery. And I think, it was just loads of fun. You know, I was with Harry and it took pretty much the day, but we were braving the elements. It was pretty cold and windy up there, altitude, and but obviously the final product is unreal, and it gives me chills to watch that commercial every single time.
Joined by Austin Yearwood, who is joining us from either the planet Mars or the moon, based off the internet signal. But we are happy to have him nonetheless, and so we are going to power through any technological struggles that we have. Austin, you have been here since year one. If I'm not mistaken, you were at the Black and Yellow Bash, so you've seen a lot of evolution of this club. You've seen a lot of moments. It would be impossible for me to ask you what are some of those favorite moments. But because I am the way I am, I'm going to ask you, what are some of those favorite moments? We may have lost Austin Yearwood. David.
Well, I can tell you that some of Austin's favorite moments, I don't know what his favorite moments are. Maybe making the playoffs both years, maybe getting the win in San Antonio, our first playoff win last year. Could be, I don't know what Austin likes. I mean, maybe he's got maybe it's something that happened off the field. Maybe it's being there for the Black and Yellow Bash, something like that. There's Yearsy. He's back. Yearsy, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
The internet is shambolic.
Thanks, internet. We're trying to have a conversation with our friend. Dill, if you want to drop him to the background, and maybe if we can just move him to audio and get a signal there somehow, so we can at least have a conversation. But until that time, we're going to leave producer Dill to do some serious back scenes work. While we wait, Dave, this would be highly embarrassing for Austin if he was actually here to witness this. But since he's not, let's just talk about how incredible this guy has been, like right out of the gate. And I think it goes back even further. I think it may go back to preseason 2020. I remember receiving a text message from you when they were out in Phoenix, and you were like, this is a dominant performance from Austin Yearwood.
Yeah. So we played a match in Tucson, actually, against Phoenix Rising, preseason match. And going into that match, we were used to it in 2019. The left side was mostly Suggsy, and then Yearsy would play on the left, would play on the right some. Yearsy played on the left that day, and he was, I think the exact words I said to you in that text message were, Austin Yearwood is the best player on the field today by far. And he looked phenomenal, and I think that was like the beginning. I mean, he had a great 2019, but that was the beginning of the ascent for Yearsy, in my opinion, there. I mean, he looked absolutely fantastic there and has looked absolutely fantastic since. I mean, we've only played 4 matches so far this season, but Austin Yearwood's got to be, among the best that we've seen so far this year.
Well, and we're delving into waters that you're more qualified to be in, but I am not, which is talking tactically. And we saw this big shift from the back 4 to the back 3. And I think, again, I don't know that a lot of people would have picked that this guy who's a stellar wingback, just everything you want from that position, would actually translate into that outside center back position as seamlessly as he did. And I think that's, again, just a testament. I know a little bit of Austin's backstory. I've had the privilege of having him tell me about his willingness to work and his willingness to never stop learning. And I think we've seen that on full display as we do a whole system shift, of which he's a crazy integral part.
Yeah, I mean, Lucas, I think I've overused this cliche all the time, but I think it's always apt, right? When you're building a team, what you're looking for is somebody who is willing to pick up a mop, right? Nobody feels as though any job is above them, or is below them, rather. Everybody's willing to pitch in and do their part. If it means you're doing a role that doesn't fit what you typically would do, it doesn't matter. You do whatever it takes to help the team. And Yearsy's a perfect example of that. That might not have been his normal position or his preferred position or what he's used to by any stretch of the imagination, but didn't hear any complaints from Yearsy. He just went in there and did it damn well.
And that's how he's done everything. And I hope we can get him back in here. I mean, we can give it a try right now, Dill, to see if we can bring him back in and he can hear us. Again, this is technological experimentation with United Sessions. We're just trying to talk to our friend Austin. Austin, can you hear us? Seems like that answer is still a resounding no, Dave.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Whoever said the internet is undefeated was a liar.
The internet is only defeated by itself. So we will continue our conversation and our ode to Austin Yearwood while we try and work technologically behind the scenes. While we do this, let's talk about a gritty little game in Colorado Springs, of which Austin was an enormous part.
Yeah,
and when I say that, I don't feel like it's overstatement or homer hyperbole, which we're tend to do in this situation. Like, we are talking down 10 men at a crucial point. We are talking Colorado Springs seems to be ready to bring it a little bit. And we've been on the back foot a bit. And through the genius of Troy Lesane and through the prowess of mind of his back line, goodness gracious, I don't think there's ever been a grittier result. I know, again, it's easy to say stuff like that and to speak in absolutes, but that is the grittiest performance I have seen from the black and yellow.
Yeah, I mean, to go down to 10 men with pretty much 40 minutes to go still is incredible, first and foremost. But it's so we just scored, right? We could just go up 2-1 at the beginning of the half. And I think like 4 or 5 minutes later, Tinney gets a second yellow to go off and reduce us down to 10 men. And at that point, you're kind of getting a little tense, right? Like, you know, you gotta have 10 men for 40 to 45 minutes if you include stoppage time. So obviously huge concern there, but to see these guys again, they don't have any excuses, right? They just come in and they say, okay, let's get the job done. So the ability for those guys, especially on the back line, guys like Yearsy, guys like Schmitty who subs in, guys like Kalen Ryden back there, Alex Tambakis had a hell of a match. I mean, Sam Hamilton, those guys just lock it down. And that was, in my opinion, far more mental than it was physical. Plenty of physical pieces of that were incredibly impressive. But for me, it was the mental fortitude, the ability for those guys to stick around, to fight like that with down to 10 men was incredibly impressive. And do we have Yearsy? Yearsy, can you hear us? I feel like we're doing a seance.
Contact us if you can hear us, Austin.
If you can hear us, flick the lights on 3 times. Oh,
yeah, I can hear you guys.
I heard Yearsy. Can you hear us? Hey, there we go. We have Yearsy. A little bit of a delay, but we'll take it. Yearsy, what's your opinion on the internet?
Pretty shambles right now.
Hot take, Years. Hot take. My man, we're gonna have these crazy lags and everything. You got to go like 2 minutes on your answers, and of course I'm kidding. Any time we get with you is time well spent. I guess if we have a limited amount and window to get questions into you, I mostly just want to know, like, where does this overwhelming grit and ability to overcome from? Like, I know your backstory. I know how you came through like this crazy trialist period. I know that your first year with United, you did not have as central as the role as you do now. And it just seems to be a byproduct of just an unbelievable work ethic. But I don't want to mischaracterize it by just saying like, oh, you work super hard. So where does all of this come from?
I think it's just kind of intrinsic competitive nature. I've always been a quiet competitor, and I just want to be able to prove myself and do better than I did the last show. I mean, it's to constantly trying to chase the level that I want to be at, and haven't reached it yet. And that's still propelling me forward. But obviously made a little bit of progress over the last few years.
All right, Lucas, I turned off my camera, and I feel like Yearsy's audio got better.
His audio got good for me, but I'll turn off my camera too because
no, leave your camera on. The people want to see your face. There you go. Yearsy, you mentioned kind of that grit, that determination, wanting to kind of fight for every inch you can take, obviously, in a match. Is that, do you kind of bring that with you personally as well in your own personal improvement year over year? Because I mean, you were incredibly impressive in 2019, but in my opinion, a big leap from 2020 and now another one from 2020 to 2021. How much pride do you take in improving year over year and match over match and moment over moment?
I take an immense amount of pride in that. I try to draw my confidence from preparation. I always feel like if I'm prepared, when the right opportunity comes along, that I'll be ready for it and I'll perform, and then I'll draw success, or draw my confidence from success. So it's really about preparation, success, and opportunity. So I definitely treat my off seasons, very seriously. Like it's never a down moment, really, because I want to hit the ground running when the season starts, and even during the season, it's constantly improving whatever area I can, whether it's physically, mentally, watching game film, or just being in the gym or getting extra reps in training. But there's no stone left unturned.
Austin, we make all of our players fill out an information sheet where we try and get some insights into your life and some interesting tidbits. And I've often wondered, is this something that the players fill out with fidelity, or is it something that they fill out just to fill out and maybe they troll us a little bit? And so if you wouldn't mind, I would like a little bit of clarity. We'd asked you a question on that. If you weren't a professional soccer player, what you would be? And your answer was president. And I'm just curious, does that mean the president of the United States, a president of an organization? There was no context around it. It was literally the word president. Please unpack.
You get no context. Just that's it.
That was probably the one question where I had a little bit of a laugh. Kind of a nickname around the locker room for myself is the Prez. So that was a hard question to answer because I honestly don't know what I would be doing if I wasn't playing football. But every other question on that questionnaire is a very serious answer.
Yearsy, I think you could be president, man. I mean, don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short. You're the Prez in my heart.
Oh, yes. And mine as well. Sorry, Austin. That. I know you have a lag and I interrupted. I would like to then transition into some of your more serious answers because I think this one will give you a little bit of a chance to expand, especially given that you've seen them again, right? It was 574 days between when you got to see the curse as a player. And one of the questions we ask on that questionnaire is what do you love about the curse? And I think you gave one of the most amazing responses in their relentless support in all situations. Like, I think Curse leadership might hear that and be like, boom, that's going in the mission statement. Talk about the history that you've seen of that, man. You have seen that relentless support since March 9th, 2019, through a pandemic and upwards to now. Talk about the Curse.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, I keep running out of words because the Curse and the fan base in general keeps outdoing themselves. Like, just when I think, there's not another higher level for them to hit, they do it. And so starting with 2019, it's obviously it's amazing. It's the best fan base in the U.S. and it came in with a lot of hype. We have a new team and an exciting thing. So that was awesome to be a part of. But just like, I don't know if everyone saw the video that we put out with Troy's pregame speech before we played Austin. It's like 2020, it's very easy, and no one really blames you if you kind of pack it in for that year. Like, we don't have any home games. You can't really enjoy us in person. It's a shortened season, and you have all these reasons and excuses. But again, like, the Curse found a way to show their support and traveling on the road when they could. The kind of gift bags that we received before games, like that stuff is unbelievable. And to finally kind of repay them with our first home game this year, it was all for them. And like they keep us going, and like that relentless support does not go unnoticed ever. Like that stuff is very near and dear to all of our hearts.
All right, folks. We have a couple people asking in chat where our faces are. Here they are. We've decided to turn off the cameras for today to allow Yearzy's shambolic internet to survive a little bit and kind of make sure that we are able to hear him. So we're still here. We just turned off the cameras so that the internet bandwidth will be all right on that. Yearzy, if you guys have questions, by the way, for Austin Yearwood, put them in the chat. We'll be sure to ask him. And kind of let's make this a little more interactive. Here's a question from Adrian Croston here in the chat. Yearzy, he wants to know, what do you cherish most about New Mexico?
I cherish the people the most. That's automatic off the rip. Everyone that I've met here has been just very genuine and pleasant. And I don't mean genuine, like I don't say that word lightly. Like I feel things are very authentic here, getting the real deal. And as a transplant here in New Mexico, I've adapted an immense amount of pride for that.
That is a president's answer, if ever there was one, Austin Yearwood. You are once again proving that you were probably accurate in what your non-soccer job would be. You're not giving us anything on that. Just so you know, later I'm going to ask you to go into the non-presidential realms. So I just need you to prepare for that right now. But right now I want to give a little gift to my main man, David Carl, because I know it was a rough season for anyone who supported Arsenal. But I was pleased to see, in looking at your player information sheet, when we asked, as Sad Dave pops up there momentarily on the stream, I was pleased to see that your favorite player of all time is whom?
Thierry Henry. That's my guy.
Dave's so excited he doesn't realize he's muted.
Oh, I was so excited. That is my favorite player of all time. Yearzy and I share that.
So that's really interesting to me, Years. Like, again, like my personality, I would track to someone who played a position that I played. And while I don't doubt that you would be an amazing striker if we ever put you up in that position, I'm just curious, like, where does your love of Henry come from? Is it just a mentality standpoint? Is he just like a moment of inspiration he had for you? I guess what's most interesting to me is, where does someone develop their favorite player?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd be pretty spot on. And I think most cases you kind of pick a player that's plays the same position that you do. But I've always been kind of awestruck or inspired by other people, like the attacking positions, or kind of like a midfield maestro. Like, if you're going to ask me my second favorite player would probably be Zidane, just because of the stuff that he can do on the ball and how he controls the game. But I've always been, fascinated by the attacking side of things as well. And I think it's just, not typically what I do, so I'm drawn to it a little bit more.
So I went over, while you were talking there, Yearzy, I went over to my jersey rack over there, and I got my Thierry Henry jersey from 2006. And I would have put it on, but I'm a much different size than I was in 2006.
So you just shamelessly draped it over him.
Thierry Henry is my favorite soccer player of all time. He's an incredible player and a true leader. Do you take? I see you as a leader on this club, Yearzy. I think a lot of your teammates see you as a leader on this club. Do you take? Obviously, it's a very different position. He's playing up top. You're playing on the wing. Do you take anything from Thierry Henry or from Zinedine Zidane? You mentioned as one of your other players, watching them growing up. What do you take from those players, those legends, kind of toward your own career, whether that be in a leadership style, whether that be in how you play on the pitch, whether it's how you carry yourself off the pitch?
Maybe a few things. I think another reason I was probably drawn to Henri is because I felt like I had a similar build in the sense that he was a pretty lengthy, like fast guy. So I love the way he could just take off at the change of pace with the ball at his foot. So I guess anytime you see me on the field dribbling like that, few and far between, but hopefully I can look some.
Austin, are you the fastest
I
player
think
on New Mexico United?
maybe mentally. No, that's probably Josh Suggs.
Really? Suggsy is the fastest player on the team, you think? I thought it would be. Well, I know Daniel Bruce is kind of the endurance guy. You think Suggsy's the fastest guy on the team?
I'd probably say so.
Wow.
It could be a toss up between Suggsy and myself, but we'll have to let the people decide on that one.
We could just have a race on the next episode of United Sessions.
Can we also fold you, David, into that race so people get just an understanding of like just where you're at as a regular man? Like, I'm not bagging on you, but I've always thought there's a tremendous value in putting your everyday guy against like a seasoned athlete. I think that would be amazing.
You gotta but that's the problem. I'm not an everyday guy. I'm slower than an everyday guy. Like, that's not a fair comparison. That's disrespectful to everyday guys. To have me in the race. So Yearsy and Suggsy against a normal speed person, sure, that makes sense for comparison purposes. I am below average in the speed department.
Put it up on the ticker, producer Dylan. Is David Carl an insult to the everyday guy's speed?
That's a poll. We need to find a way to do live polls. Wes, thanks for the shout out, guys. Thank you for the delicious beer, Wesley. Thank you so much. When's the Lucas David race? I don't think anybody wants to see that.
I think they do want to see it, Dave. And here's the thing. Both of you lean into the shame that we can have. Austin Yearwood, he serves as ref officiant, right? He makes sure the race is legitimate by all legitimate race things. And then you and I just bolt out 100 dasher.
I will probably pass out at about 50 yards.
As will I. What if we had a beer station halfway through? Wes could stock it for us.
Oh, see, this makes sense. Thirsty Eye beer halfway through the 100-yard dash. That is my kind of race. I have actually done a beer 5K where it was like every so often it was laps. You do a couple laps, and every lap you have to drink a beer. And a lot of people threw up.
Austin, have you ever considered using your superior athletic skill to dominate a beer race?
I have not. I don't think I'd be able to survive a beer 5K.
Do you have a? Sorry, go ahead, Yearly.
No, I'm just saying not because any lack of physical ability. It'd be the beer.
To be fair, keeping down beer is a physical ability. I want to make that very clear, Yearsy. And I mean, I would like just to say for the record, I respect your physical ability. I would appreciate it if you respected mine, which is keeping beer down.
Yep. We're all good at different things, Austin.
I absolutely respect that ability.
Austin, after that ridiculous conversation, it's ridiculous to transition to this, but I think it's important, and I would be remiss if we didn't talk about this. You were instrumental to our club in a time where society seemed really scary and very uncertain. And like, what do you do? Like, as an organization who said things matter to us and we need to be bigger than being a soccer team. And we look at the summer of 2020 and we saw all of the conversations and all of the coverage around racial inequality in this country. And you were an instrumental part of what we did in the league with the Black Players Alliance. You were instrumental with what we did in putting together the Diversity Fellowship program on our side. And so I want to start with, like, why was that stuff important to you? Because I know it can be a bit of a burden that you feel like you have to shoulder that as a Black player, but you were a humongous leader in that space for us. And we were so appreciative of your efforts.
I appreciate that, first and foremost. And deciding whether to, I guess, take the lead or speak up about those types of things is always, it's an internal, external conversation. But ultimately, I felt like I needed to. I feel like, especially being here at United, us players have a unique platform that reaches far beyond just New Mexico, because the organization itself is the way it's branded and everything that everyone has done in the organization over the last couple of years. There's a lot of eyes on us. And my big thing was primarily just education. I feel like, things follow the same cycle when it comes to social or racial injustice, and that something, terrible happens and it's talked about a lot and people are enraged about it for, a month to, maybe a month and a half. And then everything just dies down and the cycle repeats itself. So I think education is a big piece in stopping the cycle and keeping the conversation alive, and also just figuring out what you can do individually to help whatever issue or problem is going on. So I guess my reason for doing so is just to figure out how can we create long lasting change.
And I would imagine, again, Lucas kind of mentioned the word burden, right? That it's got to be tough for you. I mean, it's not your responsibility because you're a black player to speak up for these things. It's not your responsibility to be a representative of black players, but you've taken that upon yourself. I would imagine that's, one, difficult, two, maybe rewarding. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but why is it that I guess you talked about it a little bit, but why is it that you've kind of taken that on yourself? I mean, you don't have to do that, but why is it so important to you personally?
Yeah, I mean, I think, everyone is like you say, they're faced with that decision of whether to, as you're saying, take on the burden. But I think ultimately, I don't think I could live with myself personally if I didn't. Like I said, I'm in a unique situation where I can say something that reaches a lot of people, and whether everyone that hears my message, does something about it, or even if it just reaches one person, they do something about it. It's about the act of trying and putting myself out there. And obviously, I know, whatever backlash comes back my way, like I thought about it and have accepted it, and I move on.
I honestly hope there is no backlash of it. And similar to what Dave is saying, like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I certainly don't want to put you in an awkward position. And I know that you're a proactive guy. You're all about action. What can we actually do to move this forward? Someone who's kind of an armchair quarterback like me would look at the last couple of weeks of development in the league and really question, are we doing enough? Are we moving this needle enough? So as opposed to pulling you into that rabbit hole and possibly getting you into situations where you don't want to unnecessarily criticize people, I would ask you this: what can we still be doing now? Because we had the statements and we had the conversations and we had people taking a stand, but there's still issues that are arising. So what are those proactive things all of us can be doing, whether it's front office, whether it's players, whether it's supporters, or whether it's staff? Like, what do we do to continue to advance the equality and the access in our game and in our country?
Yeah, I do think maybe as opposed to last year, the conversation has died down a little bit, but I still think it's there more than in years past. Like, I think, as you kind of alluded to, that there has been some things that have happened in the last few weeks, but the good thing is that it has been called out. Like, there's no one's being silent about it, which is where I think that's the change. And so when you call stuff out like that, then it calls for action. And so I don't think we're too far off the right track. So that's positive, at least in my mind, to see.
I had a good question here in the chat, Yerzy, from 7 DJ Ortiz. Hi, Austin. You mentioned Troy's pregame speech before the home opener. Can you describe the feeling in that room for us during that? It seemed emotional. I know I was when I watched it, and I echo what he said there. It was an emotional speech from what we saw of it. How did it feel for you?
I definitely think the locker room, we were locked in. Like, we hear that message and we soak it in, and it's like, all right, when we walk out of this locker room, like, we have a purpose, and that's to reward the fans that have stuck with us through so long. And I think that was just the sole focus of the game, and I'm so happy that we were able to deliver that for them, and hopefully, that's the first game that creates a fortress at the Lab.
You ready to do it again this Saturday against Loudoun?
Oh yeah, without question.
Love it.
You ready to give Sammy Sergi a proper introduction to the Lab? I think out of all the storylines that make me sad, his introduction to the black and yellow faithful is going to be wearing red and white.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunate, and but honestly, the man, I'm happy for him because he scored his first professional goal the other week, and he's a bright young player. So nothing but the best.
No, we love Sammy, and we wish all the best for him, except for about 90 to 95 minutes come next Saturday. We certainly hope the best for him. All right, Yerzy, we're going to wrap up the second segment right here. When we come back, we're going to play, I guess, a stupid little game that Lucas and I put together. So stick around. We'll be right back after this quick message.
From day one, community has been at the heart of New Mexico United. This state, these people, this culture is in our DNA. United has always been more than a sports team, and victory has always been more than 3 points. With everything we do, we are dedicated to creating positive outcomes for every New Mexican. It's time for us to double down on that mission. Introducing the Somos Unidos Foundation, our commitment to the future in our state, to the future of our community, and to our belief that we are all united. Somos Unidos.
Dave, we are back with the Cinnamon Cafe Wrap It Up section. Even though no one can see our beautiful faces, Dylan, yes, let's make sure they see that beautiful cinnamon logo. We're gonna play a hybrid game, Austin, where David. Here's what you need to know about my best friend David. We asked him to write a crossword puzzle that would be a fun game for our fans to play on social media, and I can tell you without qualification, Dave wrote the hardest crossword puzzle ever in the history of New Mexico United media. It's ridiculous. It's the most difficult thing on the face of the earth.
Well, Pete, to be fair, Pete asked for it to be difficult, and I obliged.
So we're going to give you a sampling of those questions just because you're one of our favorite smart guys on the face of the earth, and we just need you to tell Dave, yeah, that's way too hard. That's ridiculous. And then my portion of the quiz will be ridiculous situational assessments. I don't know how to explain that without giving a question away, so we'll just wait until we get there. But Dave, do you want to get us started by asking our beloved guest, Austin Yearwood, one of your ridiculous crossword questions?
All right, Yerzy. I'm going to give you a couple of these. And again, if they are too difficult, just tell me I'm an idiot and we can move on. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready.
Name the youngest player to ever step on the pitch for the New Mexico United first team.
To ever step on the pitch? Like, are we talking about like official games?
To play in a match for New Mexico United's first team.
They wore a jersey.
I mean, so I'm guessing it's got to be one of the the preseason games this year.
Oh, Dave. He got you good.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I didn't include preseason. So he's damn.
And there's no other way to qualify it other than like this guy was in a preseason, or not a preseason, but an international friendly.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I obviously know it's Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe was the answer I had, but that was not including the preseason friendlies we had this year where younger players like Christian Nava played.
See, Dave, when you write these impossible quizzes, you leave yourself open to that. Austin did it effortlessly.
Well, I have nothing to say.
Yes, you do. You have a secondary question from your ridiculous crossword, and then we're going to get to the first ridiculous Lucas Cash hypothetical.
All right. On a scale of 8 to 10, how difficult do you want this last one to be, Yerzy?
Go for the 10.
We're going 10.
10.
We're going 10. Okay. Here we go.
I know where you're going.
Name the airline that New Mexico United fans flew/chartered for the 2019 Open Cup quarterfinal in Minnesota.
What is wrong with you, David?
Many things.
The airline.
If you get this one, that would be incredible.
Austin, please stop letting him waste your time. Like, this is really ridiculous, David.
Come on.
Hold on. Can I ask for like questions, like hints?
Yeah, of course.
Is it like a? I'm assuming it's a major airline.
It is not. It's an airline that nobody's ever heard of.
JetBlue, Frontier.
No, we're talking way more obscure than those even.
Let's hear it, Dave. Jesus.
It is Sun Country Airlines. Oh my gosh, Brendan Kearns in the chat got it right. Oh my
wow, Brendan.
Go
Brendan
on,
has already taken so much free swag off of the team. We can't promise him anything, but that is ridiculous.
Yeah, and by the way, when I say it's one that no one's ever heard of, I mean no shade to Sun Country Airlines. Thank you for getting us to Minnesota for the quarterfinal. No, that was incredible.
Huge lift by them. All right, Austin, I know your personality, okay? I know you don't want to bag on anyone. I know you are someone that brags first and bags later, but I'm honestly hoping for both out of this. Who would be the most useful and or useless in a survivalist situation as it relates to your teammates? Or if you want to take a bag on me and Dave, you can also fold us into the front office. But out of your teammates, who do you want in a survivalist situation and who's just going to be dead weight?
Oh, survivalist. I'm definitely going. Most useful would be Suggs.
Yep.
Useless. Oh my goodness.
Yes, come on, Austin.
Hold on, I'm going around the locker room in my head. I'll give you.
You're gonna get Yerzy in trouble, Lucas.
Oh, I love it. More importantly, I'm gonna get a text later from Troy.
Yeah.
Outside of myself, because I have zero survivalist skills. Let me. Oh man, you guys are gonna get me in trouble.
You can also include coaching staff. I think they would love to take this hit.
Or you can include Lucas,
which would literally be the only good answer.
I mean, Josh Suggs is the best, and Lucas Cash is the worst. Is probably the right answer.
I just cut myself waiting for you to answer this question.
You're not the worst, Lucas. I assume that I think you would have some hidden knowledge, to be honest.
You could use your glasses. You could use your glasses to like refract the light from the sun and start a fire.
I could gripe at all of you like you were my children, even though you're not. I have a lot of skills I bring to the table.
I think I would not want to be caught with Ilya.
Interesting.
Oh! Breaking news. Put that out on the tweet. Wow. Dave, back to ridiculous crossword question.
Are we doing more crossword questions? I had a ridiculous non-crossword question that's not a stupid trivia. All right, so in 2019, Yearsy, you guys went to Jackson Wink Gym and did a little bit of a workout there with some of the MMA coaches. Who, in your opinion, if you had to pick one player on the team that you were backing, you were going to be their trainer, you want them to win a fight, you could pick one. It could be either from the 2019 team, it could be from last year's team, or it could be from this year's team. Pick one to win an MMA fight.
Justin Schmidt.
Dang, no hesitation.
Oh yeah. No, there's no question about it.
Wow. I mean, I think, Lucas, you and I have talked about, like, if you took all the players on the team in a battle royale, who would win in a fight? And I think Schmidt was one of the answers we came up with. Have we lost Lucas now? Oh, man. It's just me and you, Yearsy. Lucas has abandoned us.
Nope, didn't abandon you. Thirsty eye.
Did you hear Yearsy's answer? He said in an MMA fight, you got to pick one, and he picked Justin Schmidt with zero hesitation.
Yeah, we've had this talk with Yearsy before, which is why I wanted to get him into this situational discussion. This man will give you an analysis beyond just a simple answer, right? Anyone could say a simple answer, but Years will get into the ones and twos of it with you, which is why I think this is a very important question that I'm about to ask. 2 versus 2 pillow fight. Austin, who do you want on your team and who do you want to battle? So it's 2 versus 2. You get a teammate, you, the Presidente, Austin Yearwood, and a teammate versus 2 other people. What's the matchup?
Well, Schmidt is still going to be my teammate on you're talking about a pillow fight.
Yep.
And just to make it interesting, because I want a good battle here, I'm gonna have Phil Big Bagel.
Oh. Ooh,
the big
on
bag.
The other side with Andrew Tenari.
Tinny and Phil. I like that.
That's like Legion of Doom versus the Road Warriors in old school WWF. That's a matchup that you can sell some pay-per-views for.
Here's why I like that pick. I like that pick because it could be obvious, as my dog barks in the background. Whiskey, stop it. He's not going to stop. Anyway, it would be super obvious to pick like one of the bigger guys. Tinny is not one of the bigger guys on the team, but he's strong.
Oh yeah,
He's going to sweep those legs.
Yeah, Tinny's like now. I mean, he's a strong kid, but I feel like he brings some fire and definitely got some scrap to him. Big Bagel, he's got obviously the heavy hitter power.
Dave, am I the only one here that would literally pay pay-per-view money to watch that pillow fight matchup?
Yeah, yes. First, I mean, no, you're not. But I also think, I know he was mentioned earlier, I want Josh Suggs on my team. I mean, he is cerebral. He's strong. I think he could be a cold-blooded killer when it comes to a pillow fight.
I'm going to tell you this. I don't think you can go wrong with a matchup in our group. Like, think through the whole roster, like literally through the whole thing. Someone is going to bring something, whether it's wit, whether it's strength, whether it's speed,
whether it's a shiv.
Do we need to move to a model where the USL championship is decided by pillow fight?
Yes, I think is the answer to that. I have no explanation as to why, but yes, absolutely.
I put the black and yellow pound for pound against anyone else. Well, with that, Austin Yearwood, we've had an amazing conversation. Well, let's call it a 90% amazing conversation and 10% whatever we just did here at the end. But now we like to move into a section where we talk about our favorite part. Dave, as a reminder, you cannot say that your favorite part is Cinnamon Cafe breakfast burritos. We all know that that's the case. So what was your favorite part about specifically the podcast this evening?
My favorite part was the part where you told me I couldn't say Cinnamon Cafe breakfast burritos because it's my roundabout way to say Cinnamon Cafe breakfast burritos.
Ah, you sneaky rascal! I could never find a way to get around you on that.
I'll say. Learning that Thierry Henry is Austin Yearwood's favorite player, that we share that in common. Yerzy, are you a Gooner in general, or is it just that you love TT?
Just love TT. I don't claim to have a team. When I first started watching the Prem, it was when Man U was on top of the world with Ronaldo and Rooney and Van de Sar and the likes of those. So that's the team that made me fall in love with the Prem, but I can't say that I out and out just support them. I just like to watch good footy.
Well, for you, if you like watching good footy, then Arsenal's not the club for you. Sorry, man.
Hey, everybody, join the Duke City Gunners, David's Arsenal supporters group, where you get that sort of positivity every week.
It's not my group. I'm part of it. I don't run it. We're awful, and I think every Gooner knows that.
Austin, did you have a favorite part of tonight other than like the end is near in sight?
I did enjoy these rapid fire situational questions. I also enjoyed being able to talk about the curse and the fans.
They love you. You've been unbelievable to them. Hey, quickly, one note I had on here, and I love to run a complete thing. What do you love about Taos so much? Why is it your favorite place to go to in New Mexico? And that is no disparagement to Taos. I just want to give you an opportunity to expound.
I've taken a few trips to Taos with my girlfriend Maddie. We've been up to Hotel Luna Mystica. We've went up there again just to kind of kick it around Airbnb. I've been up to stay in a cabin in the Ski Valley, actually, like kind of after the season, at the end, or I guess height of the pandemic, actually still. But it was like totally quiet up there, and it felt like we had the whole mountainside to ourselves. But I've just taken a number of trips there and have some fond memories, and it's always a good time.
It's a power place, my man. My favorite time is just hanging out with you. I think I've made no qualms about how incredible you are, how incredible Maddie is. Like, I just love that you're a part of our New Mexico United family. Favorite part, quite honestly, man, is just getting to spend an hour with you. Technological restrictions be damned. Dave, any housekeeping we need to do before we move on our way? Should we give Austin like a minute to do any shout outs?
Well, I wanna just say, it's not a house cleaning perspective, but I'm a big fan of Maddie's as well. I follow her on social media, and we don't necessarily know each other particularly well. We've met a couple times here and there, but she's an advocate, man, and I love what she stands for on social media, and just she seems like a really, really great person. So, Yerzy, I think you got yourself a power couple there, man. You guys are absolutely killing it.
Oh, I appreciate it. She's fantastic. I mean, there's not enough good things I could say about her, but I appreciate it. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as far as house cleaning goes, shout out to Thirsty Eye for the brews today. We really appreciate that. They are delicious. Obviously, we love some Cinnamon Cafe. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring this Wrap It Up segment. Get yourself a breakfast burrito. I know those burrito punch cards are coming really soon, Lucas. So that is something, brother, that we very much looking forward to as well. And if you can get a chance, give us a rating, review, subscribe, download, all that kind of fun stuff. Lets us get heard by more people and talk about community and have more people hear it. So we appreciate that.
Dave, I look forward to Mondays now because of you, because of people like Austin, because of producer Dylan. Mondays have become one of my favorite days as a part of the week, and it's all a product of you guys, the individuals who watch and interact with us. This is always just tremendously fun, and so I'll just take my 1 minute there to say what an amazing fun endeavor this is when you have good people at your back.
Hey, I'm right there with you, and one of those amazing people is Austin Yearwood. Austin, thank you so much for hanging out with us, man.
Absolutely. This is definitely my pleasure. I appreciate you guys and everything that you guys do on a day-to-day basis, man. It makes everything so special.
Awesome. Well, Maddie said that she considers us friends now, so that is my new favorite part of the episode. But we'll be back this Saturday as our boys take on Loudon United at the Lab. If you haven't gotten your tickets, make sure you do so. They are on sale right now. And let's make it loud for our guys as they return to the Lab for the second time this season. Also,
quick note, Dave. Let me interrupt you real fast
just
to help out the front office. We do have that game on Saturday.
Yep.
Really interesting opportunity for anyone who might want to get a glimpse of a United game from a different perspective, which is volunteering with the team.
Oh yeah.
Our game day operations staff works their butt off. They do an amazing job getting the field ready, making sure all of the lights are set, the signs are set. If you want to be a part of that, if you want to experience it, it's a great opportunity. We'll take care of your game admission for you so you can absolutely enjoy the game. But then maybe you help us set up the field, or maybe you help us tear down the field afterwards, and you get an experience that no other United fan has had before. Well, I guess some United fans have had before, but it is unique. And if you're interested at all, you can email info@newmexicoutd.com or check out our social media channels. We have volunteer links up there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, we'll be in the Lab Saturday, whether you're volunteering or just there to watch. Maybe check out the tailgate with the curse ahead of time. Looking forward to taking on Loudon United. Hopefully we can come home with 3 points. But until then, Lucas, Somos Unidos.
Somos Unidos. We are united.